I imagine the only thing better than getting a legendary to drop in Diablo is probably getting a unique to drop, and that's always been a case for these games and will certainly still work that way when Diablo 4 gets in our hands in June. Fundamentally, these uniques come in two different flavors. You get non-class specific uniques, which tend to focus more on generic or general buffs to a character and technically then works for each one of the classes. And then of course you have class specific uniques, which focus on specific skills, playstyles, and oftentimes could potentially be best in slot for whichever build you're building. I've made a few of these videos targeting non-class specific uniques first, and then looking at the barbarian and the druid, and that means today the necromancer's up next. Diving right on in, we have the blood artisan's cuirass, which is the unique chest armor. This rolls with damage for X seconds after picking up a blood orb. Blood orbs are a unique thing to necromancers, essentially, that spawn, and these will, you know, heal you and your minions, and you can actually augment these with other aspects to do things like drop your cooldown rate on your ultimate and things like that. This also comes with armor and then gives you ranks to bone spirit. So this is a bone spirit flavored unique. The aspect on here says that when you pick up 10 to 5, so you know 5 is the lowest roll here, obviously you want this number as low as possible so you can get the effect more. Blood orbs, a free bone spirit is spawned, dealing bonus damage based on your current life %. Now, Bone Spirit will most likely be one of the really hard hitting spells for the Necromancer. Think of it as essentially a, you know, bone heat seeker that flies out of you and flies into an enemy. And getting free ones of these, especially when you can load them up on a shitload of damage, and they get additional damage depending on how far they travel. And then this also makes this deal bonus damage based on your current life %. So if you have full life, it's just going to deal even more damage. So this is a way to double up on some, you know, bone spirit goodness. Bone spirit is legit one of the things that I'm looking to try out a lot with Necromancer, and this just makes me want to do it even more. Then second, we have Bloodless Scream, which is a unique two-handed scythe. This gives life on kill, darkness skill damage, damage to chilled enemies, damage to frozen enemies, and cold resistance. Now, when it comes to the damage, skill damage here, of course, as far as I'm aware, necromancers essentially, they have bone, they have shadow, and they have darkness and blood, I guess, the different damage types. But this says that your darkness skills chill enemies for up to 40%. Then it also has a lucky hit baked into it that says your darkness skills have up to 100% chance to generate 2 to 5 additional essence against frozen targets. So there's a lot going on inside this aspect. So first and foremost, just without you having to do or activate anything, your darkness skills chill enemies for up to 40%. Now, what you have to know about chill is chill eventually turns into frozen. So as long as you keep chilling enemies, they will eventually be frozen. Now that's important because the second part of this aspect says that a lucky hit, now different skills have different lucky hit percentages, chances of them happening. So let's say, for instance, you have a really high roll, then 1 out of every 10 hits that you make, or 1 out of every 8 hits that you make is a lucky hit. Then this says then there's 100% chance to give you additional essence, which is your primary resource against frozen targets. So if you have multiple targets that are getting hit by this skill, all of those will suffer a lucky hit roll, and you could potentially be getting back some, you know, additional essence here. Now, generally speaking, I think that lucky hit is going to be something that people are going to try and break. So the idea being that you can offload a whole huge amount of really, you know, crazy aspects on the lucky hit mechanic, and then if you're able to attack very fast, meaning give yourself more chances to lucky hit, and then lucky hit fairly regularly, you're going to be able to benefit off all those effects. And there's going to be a multitude of things, from like giving you HP to, you know, dealing overpower damage to, there's literally like the sky's the limit with stuff that you can load onto lucky hit. But that being said, I do think that some lucky hit options that we have are underwhelming because of the chance of the thing happening being so little. What I like about this is that your lucky hit here, if your only thing that you have to worry about is getting the lucky hit. When you get the lucky hit, you have a 100% chance, where a lot of these lucky hit skills will be like get the lucky hit and then have a 10% chance of an effect firing. Also, just straight off the bat, your darkness skills chill enemies is also pretty good. So this is kind of nice. I like this, and I definitely think it has a place in a build for sure. Then we have Greaves of the Empty Tomb, which is a unique, well, this is unique bow, but this is obviously boots, right? It wouldn't make any sense that it's a bow, because I don't know. I don't want to live in a world where I see necromancers running around with bows. But this has max evade charges, so giving you more chances to evade. This gives you intelligence, essence cost reduction, a lucky hit mechanic here that applies a shadow damage over time, and then damage reduction from enemies that have this shadow damage over time on them. The aspect here says that create desecrated ground beneath your Sever Spectre as it travel, damaging enemies for X shadow damage over 2 seconds. So Sever is of course one of the basic skills of the Necromancer, and essentially this travels out from you. This means that as this travels, it creates AoE zones, and you will see this oftentimes that like uniques or let's say legendary aspects will look at a skill or focus on a skill that has a very specific purpose, like for instance, you know, dealing 1 damage to a target and causing them to bleed. And then the aspects will change that to, okay, what if we make this better by giving you the ability to hit multiple targets and also cause them to bleed? And this is something like that. This takes a thing that is based on dealing damage to 1 target and then gives it some AoE functionality. Now, I will say this, I wasn't blown away by Sever, but I can certainly be proven wrong, and this is something that we might need to, you know, consider when we work something like this into our build. Then we have Howl from Below, which is some unique gloves. This has lucky hit chance, meaning like it increases your lucky hit chance on skills. It's basically I think you can get this on gloves and on rings, and it's a way for you to, like, let's say your skill has 20% lucky hit chance, and then you have a glove that has 10% lucky hit chance. That adds on to that 20% to essentially give you a higher chance. Then this is attack speed for corpse skills, then a lucky hit stun chance and a lucky hit fear chance. So a lot of lucky hit stuff going on here, plus buffing its own lucky hit, so that's good. Now the aspect on here is pretty insane. This says that instead of detonating immediately, corpse explosion summons a volatile skeleton that charges at a random enemy and explodes. Corpse explosion damage is increased by 30 to 40%. So I think, look, corpse explosion is one of those iconic skills for the Necromancer, and it is good. Let's not get that wrong. But one of the things about corpse explosion is because you are exploding the corpses on the ground, of course it depends on spacing. If you don't have any enemies near those corpses, you cannot weaponize them and turn them into bombs, because they're not going to deal any damage to anything. This solves that problem, because instead of you detonating those corpses, you potentially turn them into suicide bombers that run at enemies and then explode. And not only that, they deal more damage when they explode. So I think this is really good, and this is going to be interesting in situations where I think this has a home in PvP as well, where you can surround yourself with corpses, and then if you know, in the fields of hatred, and then when a bunch of humans start charging you down, you just ignite all of those corpses with corpse explosion and send a wave of, you know, suicide bomber zombies running at them to explode on them. Well, it says you know, volatile skeletons, so suicide bomber skeletons, then fine. Then we have Black River, which is a unique one-handed scythe. This has life on kill. I almost said life on skill, what the fuck. Life on kill, intelligence, damage to healthy enemies, ranks to fueled by death, and ranks to corpse explosion. So we have 2, you know, skills being essentially fueled or increased by this. The aspect on here says that corpse explosion consumes up to 4 additional corpses around the initial corpse, dealing percentage increased damage with a larger radius per additional corpse. Man, between this one and the previous one, these guys are giving like corpse explosion some serious flowers, some serious love, and I completely understand why corpse explosion was nerfed in the fucking patch after beta 2. But this basically turns corpse explosion into a 5 megaton warhead fucking corpse explosion, nuclear corpse explosion, let's go ahead and call it that, by essentially consuming more corpses and then just making one big fat fucking explosion with more damage and a larger radius per, you know, corpse. So consuming up to 4, so let's imagine that each corpse increases the explosion radius by 10%, maybe 15%. You're looking at like a 40 to, you know, 60% increase in radius. I think this is pretty good. I'm having a hard time figuring out which one of these two I fucking, you know, I like more. I wonder if you can combine the two of them and then the volatile skeleton that gets up and fucking flies at an enemy and explodes in their face is now 4 or 5 volatile skeletons boiled into each other, and they explode for bigger rate. Dude, I don't know. This is gonna require some testing. We'll get back to this one once the game launches. Then we have Deathless Visage, which is a unique helm, and this has armor, physical damage, critical strike damage for bone skills, and maximum essence, meaning increasing your maximum essence pool. The aspect on here says that Bone Spear leaves behind echoes as it travels that explode, dealing X damage. Now, Bone Spear already can get some really sexy aspects on it. You can also augment the skill to essentially like shoot the Bone Spear, and then when it hits something, it splits into shards, and those shards deal more damage. Now, there's other aspects you can go that make those shards also split up more. And then this now says that not only that, but Bone Spear being like a railgun that fires fucking straight out of you, now also leaves an echo that explodes, so it leaves an exploding trail that also explodes. So if you're thinking of, you know, being a Bone Spear necromancer, then yeah, you got to get yourself some Deathless Visage. It's just more on that skill. And Bone Spear, like many of the other skills in the game that we've covered in these videos, is that the skill is good, but once you start stacking some of the broken aspects onto it, it becomes, you know, like a completely different monster. This could be one of those. Then we have Death Speaker's Pendant as our second last item here in today's list. This is a unique amulet, and this has resistance to all elements, which I like, blood skill damage, minion damage, ranks to coalesced blood, and healing. Now, I think, at least the way that when I was playing Minion Necromancer in the second beta, I was using Blood Surge as one of my essence dump skills, because I had my minions running around attacking enemies. They were taking care of fucking business, but when enemies got close to me or when I started taking damage, I would simply just Blood Surge a bunch of times in a row, which would heal me. And because it's dealing AoE all around you, anything that's trying to get to you is also just getting fucked up. Now, the aspect on here says that Blood Surge casts a mini nova on your minions, meaning Blood Surge is an AoE on top of your Necromancer. This gives Blood Surges on top of your minions. And Minion Necromancer will technically be running 6 skeletons, 5 mages, and a fucking golem. 12 minions. So these 12 mini Blood Surges on your minions as well. Damage is increased by 10% per target drained by the initial cast, up to 50. So what this means is if you cast this and you've got like 4 enemies beating on your ass, then that drain that the Blood Surge does there is going to empower these mini Blood Surges on all of your minions. So, man, dude, I think Minion Necromancer is going to be really powerful to level. I've been one of the guys that have been saying that it's probably not going to be that great come max level because your minion is going to die so fucking fast. But this is going to make that leveling experience. Like, this item right here is in a way a game changer in terms of like your speed at being able to clear stuff, because your skeleton, your melee skeletons, they walk right up to enemies, and there's like 6 of them. So when 6 of them stand around an enemy and you hit the shit, those Blood Surges, like 6 Blood Surges, fire off around that enemy. When you're gonna crowd a boss with a bunch of skeletons, a golem, and everything like that, you're just gonna melt the boss with this. So I really like this. I think this is really good. And this is kind of like if you're playing Minion, this is an auto shoe-in item for sure. Our last one we have to look at is Ring of Medallion. Mendalin, Jesus. Okay, I think I'm saying that right. Which is a unique ring. This rolls with cold resistance and shadow resistance, but it also has lucky hit chance, minion attack speed, minion health, and thorns. So here, right off the bat, I can tell you, you already have a good minion item as well, because it's giving you thorns. Thorns is shared with your minions, at least 30% of it, unless you augment it in some way. It's giving your minions HP. It's giving your minions attack speed as well. Now, while you have 7 or more minions, you gain a lucky hit. This lucky hit says up to a 10% chance to empower all of your minions, causing the next attack from each to explode with a percentage physical damage. So again, you are going to be using, let's say, whichever skill is your basic skill while you are running minion. And let's say that has a lucky hit chance of 20%. Then that gets multiplied by, you know, this 10% chance that we have here and everything like that. So let's say, for argument's sake, 1 out of every 20, 1 out of every 25, and that's me really lowballing it, hits is going to cause this effect to fire off. The point is that you have 12 minions running around, so you qualify for this as well. And this is just going to be certain situations where once this procs, suddenly you're just going to deal like a whole bunch of damage. And the thing with Minion Necromancer is its consistency. It's just consistently strong. You're like a fucking death carpet, just running over everything, killing everything. And then just means every once in a while, it's just going to, you know, blow everything up. So I really like this. You know, I mean, you can wear the Death Speaker's Pendant and the Ring of Medallion, and you know, you could have minions till the cows come home. And I mean, as much as I doubt the power of Minion Necromancer at max level, Jesus, the journey to 100 is going to be a hell of a lot of fun if you find either one of these two items. And that's it for the Necromancer list. Let me know in the comments down below which one of these items has got you all hot and bothered, bearing in mind that of course we need to progress all the way to World Tier 3, and then we're gonna start seeing these unique items drop for us, and hopefully we can get some juicy drops in our hands. Speaking about getting things in our hands, I do want to mention that this channel is giving away 3 copies of the base version of Diablo 4 on the platform of your choice, and to be able to qualify for the chance of winning one of these copies, all you need to do is go to this video that I created a while back. The link to that video is in the description of this video, and it has a short instruction for you on what to do. It's a Google form that you have to fill out, and then once you've done that, you're in the draw. And then on the 1st of June, live on a stream on this channel, I will be drawing the 3 winners, and I sincerely hope you can be one of those. I also hope you have a fantastic morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are in the world. Until next video, fucking cheers.